Andrew, when you look at the other issue, which might expedite some of the relaxing of the rules, it's a technology issue, isn't it? The idea of an app, a tracking app, which the government's looking at modelling its approach to that which was used and is being used in Singapore.
It does sort of feel like a lot of things are going to happen in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So in the next 2 weeks, we get this app. You download the app. Say you and me download it, Kieran. We cross paths. We meet for 15 minutes. I get COVID-19. I go... You're annoyed with me because I've probably given it to you, but I mean, I go along to the doctors. They say, let's download your data, see who you've met. They then ring you and say, Kieran, look, you better have a test for COVID-19 because you've been in contact with Andrew for 15 minutes. And that really sounds like a preferable method if you're able to forgive the temporary loss of privacy. They call it a temporary loss of privacy. They'd say health would hold it. For them to track down people quickly and stop the spread, and that's what we've been about the whole time. So makes a lot of sense. But I really think the debate in the next couple of months, and I mean, it remains to be seen if some of these social restrictions being lifted changes this, will be about can we actually eradicate this thing. Now, Brendan Murphy, the CMO, he spoke last week about, he was asked if it could be eradicated in Australia, and it could if borders were shut, he said, but it probably would mean social restrictions for longer. Let's just have a listen to what he said about that.
The issue, though, is that then you don't have any immunity in the population and you really have to control your borders in a very aggressive way, and that might be for a long time. So that is one option.
As soon as he said that, Scott Morrison kind of jumped on him because I think the PM sees that as not as achievable as perhaps the CMO does. So they're sort of in between this sort of containment and just flatten the curve policy. But the more this curve flattens, and you show it every day, Kieran, the more I think eradication is a possibility. And then we just become a domestic economy till they got a vaccine. The indications and hopes are that you would get a vaccine. Let's have a look at that. Scott Morrison had some interesting comments on 6PR earlier about how people might accept this sort of invasion of privacy where they wouldn't normally. It's like in wartime he's saying you accept more deprivations of liberty than otherwise, and we certainly have so far. Let's have a listen.
Well, it's a bit like buying war bonds during the war. I mean, there are things that we might not ordinarily do, but in these circumstances, to keep people safe, to save lives, and to save people's livelihoods and get them back to work, if that tool is going to help people do that, then this may be one of the sacrifices we need to make.
Andrew Clennell, thanks so much. We'll talk to you next hour.